Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the Fish Tank. So 37 is a prime number and last week's episode 36 was a square number. So I've gone square number and then prime number, which is the same sequence that happened between episodes 16 and 17. And that won't happen again until episodes 100 and 101. So there you go. Right, so anyway, it's better get cracking. It's time for Apology of the Week. And I apologise to my friend Scott, who appeared in episode 7. Last week it was he who set me the challenge of wearing a pair of sunglasses. And I didn't actually mention his name in it, so apologies. I'm not trying to mislead viewers or anything like that. So it's a genuine mistake. I didn't sort of realise it was mandatory to mention his name, so to speak. So my apologies. And you'll be pleased to hear he's also set me a new challenge this week. In the light of my comments about David Cameron doing a party conference speech without using any form of notes, scripts, anything like that, I've been challenged to do the whole show without any pieces of paper or anything in front of me. So I've got to remember the quotations, the headlines, and this, that, and the other. So hopefully I should be able to do it, but we'll just have to wait and see. If you see me pausing like this for a moment, it's because I forgot what I'm going to say. Well, I didn't just forget what I was going to say then. I was just giving an example, so to speak. Because yeah, David Cameron gave what was supposedly outstanding party conference speech of the week that's got him back into the top of the polls and this, that, and the other. And I don't know, not sure what the whole fuss is about. I remember everyone liked him when he sort of first came in as leader, and he says he didn't want Punch and Judy politics. But personally speaking, I can't help to think that if he was doing Prime Minister's Question Time and someone like threw in an alligator and a bunch of sausages and made it a bit more like Punch and Judy, it would probably liven up the Prime Minister's Question Time. But there you go. So what's been happening this week? Well, rugby fever has hit the country once again after we beat Australia, and it was an absolutely stunning performance. So well done to the England team. Johnny Wilkinson didn't actually kick that well, but he did score all his points. But outstanding games by people like Andrew Sheridan and Lewis Moody. So well done to all them. Our next match is on Saturday, kicking off at 8 o'clock against France, a repeat of the semi-final in 2003, where we beat France 24-7. Ironically, that's the same amount of time that I've been spending this week thinking about beating France in this year's semi-final. So there you go. I do hope if England win the rugby again that we don't get some kind of, wives and girlfriends type thing like we have with the football, where the wags just sort of, follow the football players around and try and get themselves famous. That's one thing I really despise, I shall be honest. But saying that, I mean, the rugby players are a bit different, to be honest. They're not the same as the football players, not quite as attractive. I mean, you think about it, sort of thick necks, muscular thighs, cauliflower ears, scars all over the face. The girlfriends are just as bad. So, there you go. And what else has been happening? Well, I mentioned Radiohead's latest album last week. Something to do with rainbows. Can't fully remember the title of it. Over the Rainbows? Seeing Rainbows? I don't know. It's like playing catchphrases, isn't it? But for some reason on the catchphrases weren't actually catchphrases, but there you go. Yeah, they've said, we don't need a record company, but then saying that they probably wouldn't become famous without a record company because they need someone to promote the songs and produce the albums and put in various facilities that they need. So it's perhaps slightly hypocritical of Radiohead, who are an absolutely great band, let's be fair. So what have I done this week? Well, I did a quiz on Sunday night, a charity quiz we were involved in. We also got a point if you could get the best quiz name. Now, our team were called, if quizzes are meant to be quizzical, then what does that make tests? So, work that one out yourself, work the answer out. So, if quizzes are meant to be quizzical, what does that make tests? Feel free to leave a comment on www.jimbostudios.com and I'll read out perhaps the first person to get the answer right. Other suggestions for quiz team names, we had like Ken Dodd's Dad's Dog's Dead, which would be a bit tricky to read out, that kind of thing. So that was it for the quiz. We lost by 1 point, unfortunately, very annoyingly, but what can you do? So anyway, it's time for the Celeb-ometer now. And I got a comment from Sean Lloyd on the last week's show, although I presume it wasn't actually from her, just someone pretending to be Sean Lloyd. And they asked if I could give information about what the weather is like, so recommend what this person can wear when they go out after watching Fish Tank. So at the moment it's a bit dull, so put a coat on. If you're watching Fish Tank at night, go out wearing a reflective vest because I don't want you to get run over. So there you go, that's that's the best I can think of for a weather forecast. I mean, weather forecast first broadcast in 1955 by a man using a pencil and a rubber. I think he used to do a forecast, and he drew all the symbols on a big map using his pencil, and then presumably used his rubber to rub it all out when it turned out to be a complete load of rubbish. So there you go. Anyway, it's now time for headline of the week, which is going to be a bit tricky this week because I've got to try and remember a good headline. And the headline this week is, I saw it the other day in the newspaper, and it was, psychics predicted that the world wasn't going to end yesterday, was the headline. Psychics predicted world wasn't going to end yesterday. So let's be fair, I can predict that the world's not going to end tomorrow. I'm not a psychic, but I can predict the world is not going to end tomorrow. Indeed, I'll probably go one step further and say I don't think it's going to end the day after tomorrow either. I can't be certain about 3 days' time. I mean, a lot can happen in 3 days. But if the psychics, I think they should be doing better things and predicting exactly when, when the world's going to end. There you go. So it's now time for quote of the week, which is obviously once again going to be quite tricky because I'm going to struggle to remember it. But here we go. And the quote here comes from Sharon Davis, and the quote is, "The swimmers today have swam their socks off." So I don't really think swimmers wear socks because it's just going to get water in the socks and it's going to slow them up when they're swimming. So I don't think a swimmer would wear socks. To be honest, my knowledge of swimmers is that they tend to drink quite a lot. So if they're swimming and wearing socks, are going to be less of trouble. So not throwing up is going to be the main problem because from what I've seen of swimmers, they tend to be a bunch of borderline alcoholics who get very drunk. So there you go. So that's all from this week's show, and remember viewers, you're all unique, a trait that you share with the rest of the world. So there you go, I'll see you next week.